So for one of my alt accounts, I don't have a fast deck for the 30-second duel trial, and the cheapest deck you can make to be effective in this event is basically True Draco, and so I went ahead and I made that. It requires one ultra rare craft in the masterpiece. Once you craft that, everything else is pretty much common or normal except for the 3 Dynamite, the 3 Draconic Diagram, and I guess you can argue the 3 Apophis, which you should be playing. So 9 super rare crafts. Everything else like Raigeki Duster you should already have. Solemn, you get one of them in the bundle. I just happen to have a second one. You don't need to play this. I had one Dark Bribe, but you can play like Huge Revolution, just whatever it is to protect your back row basically. Aside from that, the rest of the deck is pretty straightforward, and the deck is really strong. I went, I think, 8-0 with this deck so far, completing a lot of challenges, just ranking up my Duelist Pass on this account very, very quickly. So we'll get into the deck list here, and then we'll jump into some matches to show you how easy it is to win with this deck. So we got 3 Majesty Maiden, simply because this is the one that when your opponent activates a card, you're able to search for a True Draco monster, which is another way to search for Masterpiece. The other way to search for it is the Draconic Diagram, which will require you to destroy one of your cards. It doesn't have to be a True Draco card, it could be anything. Destroy a card, search for the Masterpiece. So between these two, they're your searchers for Masterpiece, which is good. 2 of the Ignis Heat, this is probably the worst one because you don't really need to be searching for continuous spells, but it's nice to have it, just another monster as well. So the continuous spells, you know, there's only 5 of them that you play, 2 unique ones. I mean, same for the traps, but the traps are better because they're spell speed is allowing you to interact during your opponent's turn versus the spells which you have to trigger during your turn. The best one is Dynamite, that's why it's a super rare. So when your opponent activates a card, you basically get a free continuous trap to activate from your deck, a True Draco one, so that's ideally what you want to do. And then 1 Masterpiece as your main form of disruption, your boss monster, the card that comes down and is basically unaffected and will just run over your opponent. 1 Raigeki and 1 Duster for going second, just because I didn't want to craft anything else. These are just board breakers. They actually have come up and won me games, like Dustering away 3 back row wins me a game before my opponent even saw what I was on. So, like, it's funny. 1 Pot of Duality, since you really don't do any special summoning, especially during your turn, so why not run this? You could run Desires as well, but I opted not to. 3 Draconic Diagram, 3 True Draco Heritage, 2 Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. And again, I opted for 2 Solemn Judgment. You don't necessarily need to play these counter traps. You can play any other, like negating counter traps, negating summons, negating spell traps, etc. Because I didn't want to craft the 3rd Solemn, I put in a Dark Bribe. So I can negate a spell or trap, destroy it, and my opponent will draw 1 card. In a 30-second event, right, disrupting a key play from your opponent and then giving them a redraw, making them think more, is going to waste more time. So this is actually not that bad for the event. So I put 1 in there. You can even argue like you don't even need to play Huge Revolution, just play like more Dark Bribe. But this is just a rare, and it prevents you from getting Lightning Storm Dustered, which is very helpful. And then you basically just play a skill drain game. You 1 skill drain, 1 summon limit, triple Monarchs Erupt, so you have no extra deck, so the deck is very cheap to make. Triple lose 1 turn. I guess this is another super rare that you have to craft. You definitely want this in the deck because it's basically a one-sided skill drain. Well, during the turn that the monsters are special summoned, which is fine because then you out them on the following turn anyways. 2 True King's Return. You could play 3, but 2 should be fine. 3 True Draco Apocalypse, because this is the one that can pop other True Draco cards to trigger their effects, because the traps destroy monsters and the spells destroy spell or traps when they're sent to the graveyard, from the field to the graveyard. So you can facilitate the popping of these cards, right, or tributing of these cards with the True Draco monsters in order to out your opponent's monsters and or back row. And then you have 3 Apophis, which is basically a heads-up negate, right? When you activate this card in response to your opponent doing something, and then you can negate the card that they have on field. So I've negated a Lightning Storm with this, for example. The opponent activated Lightning Storm, I flipped up lose 1 turn, I think it was, and Apophis, and I ended up negating the Lightning Storm, saving my back row. So that's the deck. It's pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and take a look at some matches and see how the deck performs. And yeah, just to show you guys what I mean, here's my match history record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. So yeah, 7-0, not 8-0. But it's pretty good, right? Haven't lost a single match yet. Alright, in this one here, we win the coin toss. Our opening hand is okay. We've got 2 monsters and 2 ways to search the True Draco Slaying King. We're going to start off with Draconic Diagram. The opponent has Ghost Ogre, so that hurts. That's going to destroy the diagram here. And I opt to tribute over the Apothis for the Ignis Heat because I want to set up the continuous spell. I don't have the Dynamite, which means I won't be able to use the effect to summon the Majesty Maiden during my opponent's turn, but that's okay. I have a Solemn Judgment, which I'm hoping can do enough to stop the opponent. Off of the Upstart Goblin, we set up the True Draco Heritage. We see the opponent go for a Kaiju over my Ignis Heat, so I'm not sure why they didn't just do that first, unless they drew it off the Upstart. And then they normal summon Beautiful Princess, and I'm like, okay, that's your normal summon, and you're going to depend on this card like going into a Shark combo. I'm just going to Solemn this and hope that that's enough, and you don't have any other extension. And sure enough, they did not. So they end up passing turn. We have this spell up, and we draw into another Solemn. They just scoop for some reason. Alright, in this one we win the coin toss, and our opening hand here unfortunately is no monsters, but a lot of spells and traps. So we set 4 and we keep this in hand because it's pointless to play this right now, right? It doesn't do anything during the opponent's turn. They set 3 and pass as well, so we're both adhering within the 30 seconds. We draw the Ignis Heat here, so I'm going to opt to tribute the Disciples in order to get a spell or trap pop, and I think I popped a Dark Magician spell there, which is kind of crazy. They activate they activate a Magic Karibo, and I'm like, perfect, that allows me to trigger the Ignis Heat, which I think for some reason I was low on time and I select the same spell, which is incorrect. I should have selected the one that allows me to draw, because I would have been able to draw one since this was sent from the field to the graveyard. So that was a mistake on my part, but that's fine. They're able to summon out a Dark Magician, and this is a bit of a problem because none of my cards here will really do much against the Dark Magician. They're going to activate Soul Servant during the end phase and pass turn. They draw and are going to be able to draw off the Servant here, but I'm going to trigger Ignis Heat to bring Heritage to my hands to have no room. They go for Timaeus here and activate Dark Magic Attack, and holy cow, thank goodness I had the Huge Revolution is over to stop the wipe of the back row on my side here. I could activate Lose One Turn to stop the Timaeus here, but I'm like, let me see what they fusion into, and then I'll activate the Lose One Turn, totally forgetting that they can just go straight into a Dragoon, which could negate the Lose One Turn. So I tried to bait them first by activating True Draco Apocalypse. They do take the bait, discarding their final card to negate with the Dragoon, and then I'm going to activate Lose One Turn, which is going to result in their Dragoon being negated and going to defense. And my True Draco trap card staying up on the field. The opponent, realizing the situation, ends up scooping there, and well, not scooping, sorry, they just lost the time limit, so that one was an easy dub. Man, we just win all the coin tosses on this one, which is great. Yeah, going first here, activate the Draconic Diagram, activate the True Draco Heritage, tribute over the True Draco Apocalypse that I set to bring out the Dynamite, and this will allow me to draw 1 off of the True Draco Heritage. I draw into another copy of Dynamite, so I'm going to use Draconic Diagram here to pop that in order to search for Masterpiece and pass turn. I don't have a way to summon the Masterpiece during my opponent's turn because I don't have the trap up, but if the opponent activates a spell or trap or just any card or effect basically, I will be able to activate a trap directly from my deck, and this is why this card is so good here. So they're going to start off with a Purple Poison Magician. I'm going to be able to activate a True Draco Apocalypse, and now at any point I can bring out the Masterpiece. They're on a Pendulum, which is likely on 0 traps, so I just tribute a spell and the monster, and then my Masterpiece is, well, it won't get the 300 attack boost, but it's unaffected by basically anything that this opponent can do. Yeah, I don't know what they're really going to go for here, but the Lose One Turn will just shut down anything Pendulum tries to do. So they search for 2 Pendulum monsters and then just scoop. I mean, you're playing Pendulum in a time event, you're going to just run out of time anyways. So I don't know what they were trying to go for, but yeah, they surrender. So that was an easy GG. Alright, in this one, we win the coin flip, and our opening hand here is okay. I'm going to be able to pull off some nice stuff here because I'll be able to redraw off the True Draco Heritage. So what's interesting here is like these cards give you the extra normal summon. So I set the trap, True Draco Apocalypse, tribute over it for the Ignis Heat, and then I'm going to be able to, because the Dynamite is more useful, I'm going to be able to use my normal summon for turn to tribute over the Ignis Heat and bring out the Dynamite. And now this looks really bad, but the True Draco Heritage is going to be able to draw 2, assuming I don't get Ash Blossomed here. But if they do Ash me, I'll be able to trigger Dynamite during my turn and set up a card anyways, and then trigger it again during their turn. So I draw 2, I draw into Floodgates and Negates, so that's really good. I have a Omni Negate and Solemn Judgment. I've got a Negate face-up cards. one face-up card with the Apothis here with the lose 1 turn. They start off by normal summoning Pathfinder, and I'm like, okay, are they on like Kashtira or something? I'm just going to stop that to prevent the Pressured Planet. They set 3 and pass, so I'm like, okay. We're going to draw, and we get a spell in the True Draco Phoenix. So that's fine. Battle phase attack, and I was hoping the opponent would activate something so I could bring out the True King's Return to get back my monster, but that's fine. We're going to pass turn after attacking for 25. They just draw and end their turn. I was like, okay, sure. We're going to draw here, and we draw the Majesty Maiden. Use the effect of the spell to tribute itself for the Majesty Maiden, and then use the spell to pop a card on the field. I target the Called By here, which the opponent flips up to target my Ignis Heat, and I'm going to activate the Dynamite off of that now. The opponent chains Imperm to the Dynamite, and I will chain the Majesty Maiden to that, and then the opponent's going to chain Effect Veiler to that. So, you know, just got a bunch of interruptions, no actual engine for whatever their deck is. So if everything resolves, you know, I use up 2-3 of their cards. They end up negating both of my cards, so I don't set up a trap. I don't search for the Masterpiece, and like that's fine. I'm still way ahead. But what I could do here is I could still resolve my True Draco Fighter if I opt to activate the lose 1 turn and then the Apothis, because then the Apothis resolves first. The lose 1 turn is already face up, and then I can negate the Imperm with it, or negate the Call By and save my Ignis Heat, but there's no reason to do that. And then my Dynamite resolves, and I get the face up trap. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Chain Link 8, and I don't know what the opponent was doing, if they were just like, okay, you beat me, but I don't know if they saw the line of play that I was going to do, but they just scoop, and we end up taking that one. So pretty interesting and easy match overall. What's also interesting about True Draco is that a lot of people are on these Floodgate decks that like prevent special summoning, and you don't special summon really with True Draco, so you like completely blow out the Floodgate decks as well, which is kind of funny. Like this guy's on like some kind of a Morphage Floodgate, I'm pretty sure. Here we just activate the Duster, and we hit like this weird ritual trap. I don't really know, but anyways, we're gonna go ahead, tribute over the skill drain, because I'm like, I have lose 1 turn, which is basically one-sided skill drain. Get the Dynamite on board and just be like, yeah, go ahead, activate stuff, right? Like I'll get my Dynamite triggering effects. The opponent draws and does nothing, so I'm gonna go ahead and activate Draconic Diagram, which is my draw for the turn. I'm gonna activate Apothis here because I'm like, I don't need to negate anything, I guess, so I will just summon a beater to the field to beat you down. They chain Maxi, so I'm gonna be able to chain the Dynamite to set up the True Draco Apocalypse here, and the opponent just ends up scooping. So yeah, True Draco, really easy.